On a sunny morning, Jesus and his disciples arrived at the other side of the Sea of Galilee. News spread quickly, and people rushed from different villages. They were eager to hear Jesus preach and even more to witness the miracles he performed. Gradually, the crowd grew larger, with men, women, and children filling the hillside, about 5,000 in total. As the sky darkened, the disciples' worries grew. That day, Jesus explained God's teachings to the crowd, and time slipped away unnoticed. Before long, the sky began to darken. The disciples whispered among themselves, feeling increasingly anxious. The crowd had been there for a long time, and many looked hungry and tired, but they were in a desolate place with no food available. One of the disciples, Philip, approached Jesus and said quietly, "Lord, there is nothing here. We should send everyone away to find food in the nearby villages." His tone was filled with urgency. Jesus listened and smiled slightly, responding calmly, "No need. They don't have to go. You give them something to eat." The disciples looked at each other, puzzled, and asked, "But we have nothing. Even if we had 200 denarii worth of bread, it wouldn't be enough for everyone to have a bite." At that moment, Andrew, one of the disciples, brought over a shy little boy. The boy was dressed in simple ancient Israeli clothing, holding a small basket containing 5 loaves and 2 small fish. Andrew said to Jesus, "This child is willing to share his food." Jesus bent down, gently touched the boy's head, and smiled, saying, "This is exactly what we need." Jesus took the basket and stood before the crowd. He raised his hands, holding up the 5 loaves and 2 fish, looking up to heaven, and began to pray. His voice was warm and firm. "Heavenly Father, thank you for providing this food. May your grace overflow among the people." After praying, Jesus began to break the bread and divide the fish, giving them to the disciples to distribute to the crowd. At that moment, a miracle occurred. The disciples kept distributing more and more, and the bread and fish did not diminish. Everyone received a portion, whether they were elderly sitting in the front or children far away. Everyone ate until they were full. Laughter and joy filled the crowd as they marveled at how the food seemed to never run out. When everyone was satisfied, Jesus said to the disciples, "Go and collect the leftover fragments, so nothing is wasted." The disciples took baskets and walked all over the hillside, and they ended up collecting 12 baskets of leftovers. This miracle astonished everyone. They whispered to one another, "This man is truly a prophet. The grace from heaven is so abundant." The little boy stood among the crowd, looking at Jesus with gratitude and admiration. He had never imagined that his humble offering could become part of such a great miracle. Jesus' gaze swept over the crowd as he gently said, "I am the bread of life. Whoever comes to me will never hunger." No matter how much you have, as long as you are willing to share, God's grace will double and satisfy everyone. The crowd fell silent, filled with reverence and gratitude towards God. They understood that the miracle was not about the quantity of material goods, but about the sharing of faith and love. Encouragement at the end: if you enjoyed this touching story, please hit like, subscribe to our channel, and turn on the notification bell.